Inshallah, assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, we'll be starting in just a minute. Just let things settle up. All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Mursaleen. Sayyidina wa Nabina wa Nana Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I hope everybody is doing well and hope that everyone is finding things to do, being productive in this difficult time of quarantine and stay at home. Trust me, I'm doing the same thing. It's not easy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy on all of us. So today, inshallah, continuing with our theme of selflessness, I wanted to now share another narration in regards to another companion. Now, this is interesting because in this narration, it doesn't actually tell us who this companion is, at least in this specific one, because it's mentioned in Sahih Bukhari. And Imam Bukhari rahimahullah tells us in regards to the story on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that anna rajulan ata nabiyya sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So a man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to host this man. This man wanted to stay with him. He wanted to just have a place to have some dinner. He'd come from his journey. And so when he comes, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam فَبَعَثَ إِلَى نِسَائِهِ. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked his wives, do we have anything? Do we have any food? Do we have anything that we can give this man to eat? And they said that مَا مَعَنَا إِلَى الْمَاءِ. We don't have anything except for water. We just have water. Literally, there's no food, there's nothing, there is just water. And so, subhanAllah, the Prophet ﷺ turns around and he asks the people, مَنْ يَضُمُّ أَوْ يُضِيفُ هَذَا. Who's going to host this man? Who's going to take care of this man tonight? Who will do this? When the Prophet ﷺ asks something like this, you should imagine it as if, in our own context, imagine if you're trying to get a promotion and your boss says to you, hey, who's going to volunteer to take this shift? Who's going to volunteer to do this? If you really are trying to get ahead, you're going to say, me. And in the same way, the Ansar, of course, were ready. They just wanted the good deeds. They wanted the opportunity to do khair. And so one of the Ansar, he raises his hands. He says, Ya Rasulullah, me. I want it. Let me get it. Let me take care of him. So the Prophet says, no problem. Go ahead. So he goes, فَانْطَلَقَ بِهِ إِلَى امْرَأَتِهِ. He goes to his wife. And he asks her, he said, okay, let's take care of this guy. There's a guy who's coming tonight to visit us. What are we going to give him? We got to put out, we got to put out the pasta. We got to put out the chicken, the barbecue, all that stuff. Let's put it out. We got to make sure we take care of this guy. The Prophet ﷺ himself is telling us to host him. And his wife says, what are you talking about? And you can imagine, brothers, if you ever go without telling your wife that, you're going to be hosting somebody, it's not going to be a very good picture for you. And so he comes and she says, what are you talking? We don't have any food. She said, we literally only have food for the kids. We literally only have food for the kids. He said, okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. Let's take a deep breath. This is what we're going to do. Let's prepare the food we have. Okay, let's get it ready. I said, I want you to light a candle. And he said, and then if the kids, they ask for food, let's put them to bed. Now, understand, they're at a level of poverty where they literally don't even have food for themselves. They only have food for their kids. And the thought that many might take hearing, like, put your kids to bed if they ask for food is like, oh, what are they doing? But we have to think bigger, brothers and sisters. Think about what they're doing. It's not as if this is some light thing that they're doing. It's not like it's something that they're just like it's very easy for them to do. It is not easy. We read it in a narration and we think that, oh, like these people are just inhumane or something. Na'udhu billah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honor the Sahaba of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But that's not how it is. In reality, is that this is a very difficult decision, but clearly it's being done with a greater objective in mind. It's being done it's take a little bit of sacrifice now, because in the future it's going to be so much better. And I think every single individual with a family can probably empathize with that. Yeah, we have to sacrifice a little bit now. We have to just not do everything that we want. And this is terrible. And I wish I could do more, but we're trying to get something bigger. We're trying to get something more important, trying to get something better. And so the companion, he tells his wife, all right, let's put the kids to bed. I want you to light a candle. And then he said, put the food out. Let's get the food ready. So this man comes, and as they bring the food, as the food is set out, the companion, he basically has also told his wife something. And his wife, mashallah, is smart. She says, she goes over to the candle and she's trying to kind of play with it. She's trying to, oh man, it's going out. I'm going to try if I can get it back up. Oh, dang it. The lamp went out. I'm so sorry. But this was actually on purpose. They wanted the lamp to be dark, because if there was no light, then the individual who was sitting with them wouldn't suddenly feel really awkward that he was eating food while his hosts weren't eating anything. And so what they did, subhanAllah, listen to this. This companion and his wife, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, may Allah subhanahu be pleased with the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they just sat there in the dark, and he sat there having his food in front of him, and they sat and they just made noises as if they were eating. Just making noises so this man doesn't feel awkward. So he doesn't feel awkward, and they can take care of him. They can host him properly, subhanAllah. And the next day, the man goes out, and he's not going out saying, oh, guys, you know what I did last night? I checked this out. The reward is going to be so good for this. Rather, he just goes out, just goes about his business. And he's continuing on and doing his things. And when he runs into the Prophet ﷺ, and the words of the Prophet ﷺ, subhanAllah, they should shake us, because he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sahbihi wa sallam, because they went to bed hungry, mind you. They went to bed hungry. They let this man have all their food, even the food of their kids. And so they say, the Prophet ﷺ says that ضَحِكَ اللَّهُ اللَّيْلَ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laughed at what you did last night. SubhanAllah, imagine that for a second. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laughed that they did this. And the verses that are revealed, that are in reference to this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي صُدُورِهِمْ حَاجَةً مِمَّا أُوتُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about the Ansar, talking about how wonderful they are, what great people they are. The Ansar, literally meaning the helpers. They prioritized helping people more than anything else, particularly helping their brothers and sisters. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ, that they take preference to other people. They give preference to other people over themselves, even when they have a need. Even when they have a need, they have a desire, they still give preference to other people in spite of that need that they have. وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and whoever is protected from the stinginess of their nafs, protected from this shuhha nafsi, this desire to hoard and keep, then these people will be successful. And subhanAllah, when you think about it, this verse really encapsulates this concept of selflessness at its core. Because here we see an example of a companion who, not just himself, but his children, he gives preference to this man who came, the Prophet ﷺ asked him to host. He gave preference to this man over his children. He literally gave preference to this man over his own heart. Our children are our hearts. And he gave preference to this man over his own heart. SubhanAllah, think about that. There was absolutely a need. There was absolutely something that he required in that time. He wasn't going to get food, but his heart, his kids, at least he wanted them to get food. And yet, subhanAllah, he knew that the sacrifice in this moment, the sacrifice in this time was an investment in something far better. And he wasn't going out to tell everybody about it. He wasn't going and saying, hey guys, I did this. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought it out for him. ضَحِكَ اللَّهُ اللَّيْلَ. Allahu Akbar. Whenever I think about that, it just makes you smile. What that must mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laughed, that Rabbul Alameen was so happy with an individual, that somebody earned so much of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure, that ضحك الله عليه. Allahu Akbar. You know, for all of us brothers and sisters right now, we are in a situation that is similar. And to an extent, I'll say, it's not exactly something that correlates, but there's metaphorically right now we have needs. We are a little afraid, perhaps. We have some concerns about what the future might hold. But in moments like this, brothers and sisters, this is the time for us really to dig deep and follow the example of the Ansar, to be helpers like the Ansar of the Prophet ﷺ, the Ansar of the Muhajirun were. They always were ready to help, always ready to take care of people if they needed help. And they were never going to step away from the opportunity if the opportunity came to them. It didn't matter what their needs were. It didn't matter what they wanted. It mattered how they could help people and how they could take care of people, fi sabilillah, take care of people in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was their objective. That was their goal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, He tells us in the Quran about these men, these women, that they were so righteous that they deserve to be immortalized. You know, imagine that, subhanAllah. So for all of us, brothers and sisters, let's try and take a lesson from this. That perhaps if we do have more, and we're not even in a situation where we fear anything or we have comfort, then make sure that we're doing all we can to help those who are not in that very same position of security. And for those of us who perhaps are just a little lower on that ladder, where we're not exactly there, we feel still some like concern, know that we have an opportunity in that moment to give the best kind of sadaqah. As I mentioned in a previous video, the Prophet ﷺ said, the best sadaqah, أفضل صدقتي أنت صحيح شحيح تخشى الفقر. The very best kind of sadaqah you can give is when you have the ability to earn. You're okay, you're greedy for it, and most importantly, that you are somebody who fears poverty. You fear that giving away this money might be something, you might lose something because of it. And by giving in that moment, you build that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You show and we prove, and when we stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll be able to say, Ya Allah, I didn't do a lot right. Ya Allah, I could have done so much more. But Ya Allah, in a moment when I was tested, in a moment when other people were tested, and I was afraid, I was fearful that perhaps, you know what, I might not get the things that I want, or I might not have the things that I'm used to, I still gave in that time for your sake, Ya Allah. I still gave in your path, Ya Allah. And that's something all of us could use, inshallah. I want to share just a quick reminder for all of us, inshallah. This Sunday, we're going to be having a virtual fundraiser. And this is to help those in need overseas who, in order to get food and hygiene kits. Because, you know, those who have been affected by COVID-19 and by this pandemic, who are more vulnerable, are in a much worse position. And that's what we're hoping we can, you know, show you how we're planning to help and get your assistance so you can partner with us. We can partner with you in order to help those who are most in need, inshallah. Join us on Sunday. You can join on our Facebook page, also on our YouTube channel, inshallah. We're going to have Sheikh Abdul Nasser Jangda, my teacher, Sheikh Abdul Nasser Jangda will be there, inshallah. We'll have Sheikh Yasser Bajas, and we'll also have Jeremy McClellan, who's normally, you know, he's a comedian, but subhanAllah, he is so concerned about what all is happening that he said, I just want to come as a humanitarian. I want to be a part of this effort and make sure that I can help those in need. Brothers and sisters, and I'll tell you something, subhanAllah, he's a great guy. And mashallah, he's a good example for us to look to. He's not somebody, he's Christian, and he's very proud of it. But at the same time, he's very committed to making sure he can help those in need. We have to be on that same path, brothers and sisters, inshallah. For all of us, remember that they still need us right now. As much as we were worrying about ourselves and worrying about what's going on with us, there are still so many thousands upon thousands, probably honestly millions of people who are so much worse off than us that we can't forget about in this time when we're worrying about ourselves. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the stinginess of our own souls. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our hearts, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this crisis something that we can earn His favor by. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us, to allow this disease to pass. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to find a cure for this disease. So, sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabina wa ala Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.